Hi, I'm Josh Merwin. I'm the founder of the Houston International Sports Film Festival. We're really excited to be coming to Houston June 3rd through 6th of 2021, which is basically just a month away. So I thought for Mother's Day I would interview my mom, Terry Merwin. When I was growing up, she was into sports, always playing tennis, but she was also a teacher. And she went back to teaching when my brother was in high school, and she's taught art and photography. So this is kind of where I get my creative side from. And so I thought it would be great for Mother's Day to say Happy Mother's Day to you. Thanks for everything you've done for me. And I guess let's talk about how maybe I got here today. All right, so what's your, I guess, your first memory of me getting into photography or being excited about the camera?
When I was photographing the River Oaks tennis tournament, you would come out and hang out with me, and that was, I think, the first time that you really got into sports photography.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time I got a camera?
Probably in high school.
No, so that's funny, So it actually involves sports. So I was playing at Nanny and Papa's house, my grandparents. I was playing basketball with Dad, and the ball kept going over the fence because I wasn't very good at basketball. And the second or third time I went to go get the ball, I found a $20 bill in the grass.
I do remember that.
We later determined that it probably fell into my dad's pocket because it probably had a hole in it. But I went with you, I think we were at Target, and you said I could get whatever I wanted. So we'd gone to Toys R Us first, and I didn't find anything that was like the perfect toy. Back then you could get a lot for $20. And I went to Target, and I saw a Polaroid camera. And that was the first time I was like, this is what I want. It was $19.99, so I had enough money for the camera. I didn't have enough money for the film. So you said it was okay, you could buy the film. So they continued to support me with that aspect for a long time. But that was the first time. I remember being at Godwin Park at Coulter, taking pictures of people in the tire swing and stuff. So, sports really did lead me into this. I guess, talk about, growing up, how did you get into creativity, or when did you get into photography? Probably, I think when you were probably older, right?
The creativity part came from my parents. My father manufactured furniture, and both of my parents did interior decorating. And on Wednesday nights, they used to keep their showroom open for people who worked during the day to come look at furniture. And I would take 2 buses into Center City, Philadelphia, and go have dinner with them. But I'd work in the showroom, hanging up fabric samples and, just general helping out. And I think that's kind of where my creativity came from. Photography, when you were a baby, I went back to U of H, went to U of H, and the plan was to get a design degree. But I had your sister instead. But I took 2 classes that first semester because I was going part-time. One was an art history class, and one was a photography class.
That's where you met Kara.
And and met a lifelong friend in those classes. And then I took classes at Glassell, and then I took classes at Anderson Ranch and Santa Fe Workshop. And a friend invited me to be a second camera at the River Oaks tennis tournament. And so that's kind of how that all started. And then I decided to go back to teaching, and decided to go back in the arts rather than in history, which was what I originally, my original certification.
I remember when we were kids, you would do the black and white portraits and then paint over those. Was that part of the class?
No, that was just something I decided to do again. It was a combination of fine art and photography.
Cool. I'll have to get a shot of one of them and put them in, because they were pretty incredible paintings. I guess portraits and paintings.
I think there's one upstairs.
Is there? I guess that would probably inspire the flower paintings.
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay, so because how old was I when you went back to teach at Bel Air?
I went back in 2000.
2000, so it was after I went to college.
Yeah.
Or I was almost done with college. So what was it like, kind of, with us growing up, and basically, Dad got us into sports early. I guess we can do, what's the first story about Josh playing sports?
So the first best story of Josh playing sports was tadpoles, baseball, and it may have been the first time you were up at bat. I don't remember if you'd been up at bat before, but you got a really good hit, past the infield, and you ran as fast as you could directly to third base. And it was a Kodak moment, the expression on your father's face. You were obviously out and was very
I think I started crying. Didn't I?
Oh, you were crying.
I kind of remember this.
Yeah, you were crying, but we talked about it, and I said, that's the kind of mistake you only make once. You've done it, you'll never do it again, and you pressed on.
Yeah, that's funny because I remember that.
It was look on your father's face was just priceless.
Maybe it was because he was trying to be left-handed. I just decided to go towards the left arm, third base. Yeah, that's funny. Well, then obviously tennis. We grew up going to Houston City Club. I remember playing all around the City Club, and then in my dad's office, playing catch in the hallway. When did you guys start playing tennis? You didn't?
Oh, in Austin.
In Austin,
when Dad was in law school. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was that influenced by Terry?
No, we didn't know Terry.
He didn't know Terry.
Really not.
Did he play tennis? Did Dad play tennis growing up?
I don't know.
I feel like he did, yeah. So kind of a history lesson of, the Merwin / the Bell family. So my great-grandfather, Jack LaBelle, who unfortunately never met, is in the Houston Jewish Sports Hall of Fame. He was an incredible athlete, basketball player, softball player. I believe he hit a record of no-hitters at one point.
It was indoor.
Indoor
baseball
at the JCC, and then my grandmother, Nanny Elaine, who's not with us anymore either, was just a great athlete. And I remember playing catch with her.
She was all city in 3 sports.
Which was tennis.
Must have been tennis, basketball. No.
Tennis, was volleyball one of them?
Probably,
yeah. Volleyball, probably basketball. And she's also in the Houston Jewish Sports Hall of Fame. And then the JCC used to give out little brass or gold charm bracelets. I guess as trophies back in the 60s and 70s. And so I actually have a collection of them from Jack, and I assume some from Nanny as well, that I kind of snuck into my film, which is fun. So I guess, when I started this project with Carson, now it's 12 years ago, what were your thoughts on me doing a film? Because I went to University of Colorado Boulder, I did a double major in journalism and film, but basically I went into the film aspect without having any experience other than what I did in college.
My real recollection is I didn't know how you were going to handle being in the operating room. I was afraid you would get sick or pass out, but fortunately.
Yeah, actually that was easy. Yeah, it was easy. The worst part about it was the night before. The PR person in the hospital told me that, once I went in, it was fine. If I left, I couldn't go back in. And it was a 8 to 12 hour surgery. So I totally dehydrated myself the night before because I didn't think I could leave to go to the bathroom. All I had was a banana for breakfast. And then I get in, and the first thing the doctor says is, okay, if you have to go to the bathroom, you need a snack or whatever, you can just leave. Wash your hands, it's fine. It's really not a big deal. And I'm like, seriously? So I told him what I had been told, and he started laughing. He's like, yeah, no, don't worry about it. He's like, this table, if you touch it, again, not a big deal. We have 5 outside, but just let us know. So, we don't use any of the instruments on him if you touch him, which I didn't do. In fact, and they were like, you can shoot down into his hip cavity if you want. And so I got on a little step stool and shut down. It was, pretty crazy. I kind of wanted to leave my autograph on the inside of Carson, but of course I did not do that. And I did not drop any camera lenses or caps or anything in there either. So it's got a clean body. I guess that's an interesting tie-in too. I forget what the timing was, but it was several years after Carson had his kidney transplant. I think you had a kidney issue and learned that you only had one kidney?
No, I had a kidney removed.
Kidney removed, okay. So so how did that?
So I woke up not feeling particularly well, and
How long was this after the Carson surgery? It's like 3 or 4 years? Was it longer?
maybe not even that long.
Yeah, a couple years.
Yeah, maybe not even that long. And I wasn't feeling well, and I thought it was some abdominal thing, but we have a friend who's a doctor who did not think that was the case and told me to go to the emergency room, which is a whole nother story. But anyway, what they discovered that I had, one kidney was not functioning, and it was causing, I had an infection, and anyway, I wound up having that one removed, but the other one had been working for both for quite some time. So I didn't, other than, hurting from the surgery, I didn't feel any different once it was done.
I remember you telling me about it, and I was like, oh, you're going to be fine. I was the only person in the family who was like, oh, this isn't a big deal. Like, if they can take a kidney out of Carson's dad and put it into Carson, I'm like, they're just taking your kidney out, you'll be fine, which, obviously was a fairly serious surgery, as all surgeries are. So I was probably a little naive in that, but just based on my experience, I was like, oh, you're going to be fine. And luckily you were. I guess what was it like, when we were playing sports and, especially me and Lindsay having stuff, at 2 different times or the same time, shuffling us around to different games and practices and all that.
Let's just say I became very adept at eating in the car while I was driving from place to place. Fortunately, you and Lindsay, at least for ball games, were typically at the same field.
Same field, yeah. I guess we were both at West. Yeah,
Yeah. But tennis matches, we were all over the state. Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else sports related or life related? Yeah. Cool. Awesome. I guess, the other sport that we're playing a lot of, or that I'm playing a lot with them, is golf. So that's been fun. I did not play a lot when I was in New York just because it was too hard and I could never get good enough to not get frustrated on the course. But since I went back to Houston, it's been a lot easier to get better and gotten some good lessons, and enjoy playing at Golf Club in Houston, where I think we're going to have a golf tournament for the film festival, which will be fun. And so looking forward to having everybody out there June 3rd through 6th of 2021. Discovery Green, downtown Houston Park, which is amazing, is going to be the main venue. And then, at least on Thursday night, we're going to have a screening at 8th Wonder Brewery as well, which will be exciting, which is not that far away from Discovery Green. So everything will be centralized downtown, and looking forward to bringing this to Houston. Thanks, Mom. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.